have 2 victims here.
You've seen the stories leading your local news.
Another case of road rage.
And polluting YouTube. What feels like a daily diet of road rage reports. Just last week, this shocking video of an incident on a California freeway leading to a multi-car crash.
Call 911, Chris.
Nearly half of all drivers surveyed have experienced some form of road rage.
It's heavy, it's crowded, and it's aggressive.
Captain Jeff Goodwin of the Colorado State Patrol is fighting the uphill battle against an army of hot-tempered motorists.
Don't touch me.
There is that group of individuals that get up helter-skelter every morning. They're never on time. So now they're running late, and they've got to make up that time. So how do they do it? They do it by pushing people out of the way, cutting them off, changing from the inside left lane all the way to the exit ramp right as they get there.
Goodwin believes he's pinpointed the root of the problem. With more than 100,000 people transplanting to Denver every year, it's as simple as too many metal machines, not enough pavement.
I used to think it was something like people cutting you off. But, you know, one of the things that people really get angry about, if somebody honks the horn at you because you've sat too long at a light, I think they literally go from the Dr. Jekyll to Mr. Hyde.
Around the country, it's not just gangbangers and street thugs mixing it up. It could be any of us. Take a look at these guys in business attire doing the WWE SmackDown. We showed the good Captain Goodwin some examples of bad behavior, and he provided us some potentially life-saving road rules to help you. Rule number 1, don't make eye contact.
This motorist is out of control. And this victim is doing all the right things.
Just stare ahead, don't engage.
Right. Yeah, the minute you engage, who knows where this goes?
Rule number 2, never approach the window.
All right, wow, okay, this is more than over the top because now you have a gun involved.
So you're gonna pull your gun out? What kind of just...
And most important, rule number 3, you don't always have to win.
Looks like it's gonna be over.
But as we see in this case from Houston, the parties involved just can't help themselves.
And here we go. There you go.
I mean, now they're at full-blown fist fight.
Right, this is what happens. It gets worse. The longer this goes, the worse it's gonna get.
It looks like they just need to win the argument.
That's what it is.
It was 4:15 when we hit the road with Goodwin and his team. They prowled the interstate looking for bad behavior.
We're looking for aggressive drivers.
Triggers. Which often lead to the road rage we see on the news.
Lady who was texting, if you want to pull her over.
Within minutes, Goodwin's team has spotted a common breed, a texter at the wheel. Goodwin says distracted driving, the #1 offense that sends drivers into road rage.
And how does that end up leading to road rage?
Well, when she's texting, she's not paying attention to everybody else out here.
Next, we cross paths with a lead-foot speedster, the deadliest kind of aggressive driver.
I could see him in the rearview mirror weaving in and out. He was trying to find that opening.
And that's when people get mad.
Right.
It was now 5:45, the road rage witching hour.
Yeah, we're pulling out.
Goodwin says the peak time for trouble. And the cops had busted this aggressive driver for skipping the off-ramp and blazing her own trail altogether.
Right now, there's a warrant for your arrest.
Her prize? Some new bracelets and a ride in the fast lane to the county clink.
She doesn't have a valid driver's license either, so that's been canceled and denied, so she shouldn't be driving anywhere.
We'd found ourselves at a notorious hotspot.
So this is the frontage road where we have a lot of our issues.
And got a dose of full frontage fury.
So people will be frustrated. They'll come off the frontage road, and then they actually will do this, believe it or not. They will drive here.
Holy cow, this is so steep.
And they will find that steep drop down to the interstate, and they will bounce their way back down into Interstate 25, all because they're angry about sitting in traffic. Off-roading on I-25.
Yeah. As Friday rush hour traffic mounts once again, We spot this guy who thought he could make up time bypassing all the drivers ahead of him, riding along the road's shoulder. But he's going nowhere fast today.
Over here.
Hey, sir, do me a favor and stay in your car while we do this business, okay? You passed about 7 or 8 cars going alongside them on the right. You went over the white shoulder. That's not a lane for turning. It's not a lane for passing.
Like many road rogues, this guy's idea of defensive driving is making excuses for his alleged moving violations. He even called 911 to complain about being pulled over.
He stopped me first on the train track with the train coming down the road.
And now that he's caught, he's upset, just is not in agreement at all with what's going on here. So that's his beef.
There goes the guy. There he goes.
Next, check out this blue truck. The driver has jumped the median, passing up other cars, hightailing it the wrong way into oncoming traffic. Captain Goodwin pulls him over, hand on the holster.
What was it? You got kids in the car.
I haven't seen anybody drive that aggressively in years. He's doing about 90 miles an hour. He damn near hit several cars back there.
I charged him with reckless driving. He just didn't plan on having any law enforcement around to stop him.
2 young women out on the open California highway. Carefree, on their way for a fun weekend in Reno. Cell service is fading, the road is getting quiet, and lurking far behind in their rear view, a truck driving fast, aggressive, right towards them. Sounds like the open to a slasher flick, but this tale is as dark and real as a hot coat of tar across I-80. You're about to see it play out in real time. Meet Vanessa and Delaney. Vanessa, a student and waitress. Delaney, a former Miss California contestant, now also a waitress. The duo just looking to let off some service industry steam.
Looking forward to us drinking and not serving drinks. We weren't in a bad mood. We were by no means in a hurry. That wasn't us that day.
I jumped in Vanessa's car and we headed north to unspool the rest of our tale.
We saw her in the rearview mirror cutting between cars. I would say that was trouble, but I didn't think we personally were in trouble.
Then Delaney broke a cardinal rule of road rage prevention, flipping the bird. At what point did you flip her the bird?
After it had been going on for, I'd say, a good 10 minutes.
In life in general, are you like a flipping off type of person?
No, I'm normally really calm. Did you want to strangle me?
I'm guilty of that too, of flipping off drivers, but you would never expect it to escalate the way that it did, you know?
Actually, experts say that's exactly what you can expect. You never know who you're flipping off and where their head is at.
When you add a little finger into that, maybe the one finger salute, that creates crazy in a heartbeat.
Whether it was Delaney's salty salute or not, the truck inexplicably began to try and push Vanessa off the road. That's when Delaney starts filming her homemade horror flick.
Like, I almost want to stop and pull over at an exit.
No, because then she'll get out of the car.
Dude, I don't know what to do. She's in the slow lane next to me and just starts pushing me, like coming into my lane and pushing me into the shoulder of the fast lane to the point where I have nowhere else to go and I have to come to a complete stop in the middle of the highway.
Delaney calls 911, but reception is bad.
Just drive. Just keep driving. I know. Just keep driving as well as you can. You're fine. I promise. Hi, we have a really bad emergency on Highway 9 or Highway 80. We have a vehicle that has been following us, telling us that she's a cop and keeps trying to tell us to pull over, and she's swerving us off the road. She keeps trying to hit us off the road.
I'm freaking out. Dude, she's gonna hit me.
Yes. She just hit our car. She just hit our car. She's pushing us off of the road. Yeah, she's pushing us off the road. She's coming for us. Put it in reverse. Put it in reverse, Vanessa. Put it in reverse.
Suddenly, this woman jumps out of the truck and runs to Delaney's window.
She's in a Explorer. It's a Ford Explorer. It's a sport track. It's silver. She's saying that she's a cop. She's knocking on our window saying she's a cop. Go ahead and go. Go. And we both said later, like, what if she had a gun?
Turns out the California woman with this Richter scale rage issue was a Deirdre Orozco, that badge from her job at a senior living facility. The closest thing Orozco ever came to being in law enforcement, she was once a bail bond agent. And I'll bet you a new set of rims, you won't guess where she just come from.
She'd literally just been out of jail for hours before attacking us.
Yep, this home movie is actually a sequel. 4 days earlier, Roscoe had crossed paths with this guy, Dane Larson. Happened in Sacramento at this very intersection.
And I'm just sitting there, and that's when I hear it, and she's coming up blaring her horn.
She comes up behind, the horn blaring, and just hits you back.
She was like trying to push me out of the way.
Roscoe ended up parked on the lawn of a house a mile or two away.
And she was going crazy.
Now she's been released on bail and back on the attack, hauling a wide load of anger management issues in that 2-ton truck.
Dude, she's so confusing. She hit us. Okay. It says next right fuel.
Summer.
Okay, there's an officer right now with us. Okay. Yeah, thank you so much, ma'am. Bye-bye.
Deirdre Roscoe was arrested there, and then here she is in court ready for some more demolition derby.
Did she go easily?
Oh,
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say easily. She was kind of feisty.
Roscoe ultimately pleaded no contest to charges of assault with a deadly weapon, her truck, and making threats to commit a crime resulting in death. In both cases.
Whatever's the most expeditious way, that's what I want.
Sentenced to 925 days in county jail and 5 years probation. Roscoe declined our offer of an interview. To review, aside from flipping the bird, these women did everything right. They avoided eye contact, remained in the car, and called the cops.
It worked out well.
You never know just how fast or how far a road rage incident is going to escalate. Maybe it's just a guy using his phone as a weapon. Maybe it's two dudes having a roadside duel.
He's definitely ready to go to battle.
He got himself a pipe.
But look at this thing break out. Holy cow.
Or maybe it goes as far as this crazy scene from Los Angeles last week.
He's getting dragged on the freeway.
At least everyone in those cases lived. But tragically, it doesn't take much for a road rage incident to go from cursing
What the f is wrong with you?
to the coroner's office.
How bad can these road rage confrontations get?
Well, it's murder.
From 2006 to 2015, there was a 500% increase in fatal road rage crashes. And just this week, 18-year-old Bianca Roberson was shot and killed in what authorities say is yet another road rage incident.
She was a good girl, honor roll student, looking forward to going to college.
And a man in the red pickup truck pulled out a gun and shot her in the head, killing her.
Tonight, that suspected shooter is still at large. While in Southern California, another road rage killer is behind bars, wrestling with her regret.
If I would have known that it would have ended the way it ended, I would have never, ever followed him.
Earlier this year, Darla Jackson, a 27-year-old mother with no prior arrest, was sentenced to 6 years in prison after pleading guilty to the voluntary manslaughter of Navy officer Zach Bube.
I'm going to commit you to the Department of Corrections, Ms. Jackson, for the middle term of 6 years for the reasons I stated.
The encounter between the two escalated when Bube drove up alongside her on his red motorcycle and kicked the side of her car, leaving a dent and a shoe print.
She couldn't believe that he had done it, decided to follow him to get the license plate.
Once again, the decision to pursue would end badly. Another motorist captured a few seconds of Jackson's high-speed chase on video, and shortly after this clip cut off, disaster struck.
What happens is he slows down. The driver doesn't react fast enough to that to gauge how much he's slowing down. So her nose of her car literally rolls up onto the back wheel of the motorcycle.
These photos tell the rest of the tale. The two vehicles become one, skidding together for 315 feet before they became dislodged. Bube hit the ground, and Darla Jackson ran him over.
She had every opportunity to change her mind and not chase my brother across 2 freeways.
I let my pride get the best of me. I shouldn't have, been speeding. I shouldn't have, been negligent.
The anguish she now feels apparent in her court appearances. and in her interview with us.
My daughter doesn't have her mother and won't for a very long time. It turned out terribly for everyone involved. So I deeply regret what happened.
That angry pursuit landed Darla Jackson in prison. In New Orleans, another heated chase landed former Jets running back Joe McKnight in the morgue.
We're going to move on now to that deadly road rage incident in Louisiana, where former NFL player Joe McKnight was killed during an argument.
According to police, McKnight cut off this man, local IT technician Ronald Gasser. The two then got into a rolling argument, which lasted for miles.
Still involved in verbal altercations, cutting in front of one another, zipping around vehicles, on and on and on.
That's McKnight's silver Audi following Gasser's blue Infiniti. Minutes later, the cars come to a stop, but the argument continued at full speed.
At some point, Mr. McKnight exits his car and goes to Mr. Gasser's car. There continues to be a verbal altercation. During that verbal altercation, Mr. Gasser pulls his weapon from between his seat and the console and fires 3 shots at Joe McKnight, killing him.
Did you ever think in a million years he would be the victim of road rage?
No. We got to stop being in so much of a rush to get somewhere.
Remarkably, police say it was shooter Ron Gasser's second road rage incident at almost that exact same location.
Then this week, at the stoplight, he admits to shooting a man.
Gasser has been charged with second-degree murder. But in Louisiana, a stand your ground state, he may yet walk free.
Looking at justifiable homicide, if you are in your vehicle and someone attempts to enter it, I'm going to presume that for a second, he's justified in shooting him.
Gasser has pled not guilty. The trial is scheduled to begin this August, but McKnight's mother has already rendered judgment on the road rage epidemic that claimed her son's life.
Are we that angry? Is our nation that angry about things? We got to learn how to channel our energy into something more positive than what we're doing. We're not thinking clearly.